But ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts because this is about to get bumpy. Live from Los Angeles, where he is 28 minutes away from First Take this morning, and that should be extraordinary. Stephen A., give us a taste of how we are feeling this morning.
You know, it's a beautiful day. I mean, it's just a beautiful, beautiful day. I mean, I know I'm in Southern California. It's still dark out here this time of morning, but damn it, I'm in a good mood. I was very worried about the New York Knicks, particularly some of their offensive struggles. I didn't like the way they blew. Game 5, obviously, 28.6 seconds left. You got a 6-point lead. You blow that. But Jalen Brunson obviously came through in a very, very big way. DiVincenzo came through in a very, very big way. But more importantly, collectively, defensively, the New York Knicks showed up. And I didn't like the fact they had a 22-point lead in the first quarter and ended up with being down by halftime, for crying out loud. But in the end, their guts, their grit, their hardcore mentality, their old school mentality came shining through. That's something that Alan Hahn has spoken to on many, many occasions about the New York Knicks during this series. And when I used to watch my man Jay Williams play college ball, he was one of them hardcore brothers. He didn't give a damn. Let's go. We ain't scared of anybody. We don't give a damn what the challenge is. We will overcome. We will adapt. We will overcome. That is what the New York Knicks did last night, and that is why they are going to the Eastern Conference semifinals. The Sixers are down and out. Pacers are next. Now, I'm worried about them damn Pacers. I'm not going to front. I am worried about them damn Pacers. But, damn it, we are what we are. New York, stand up. We here. We here.
Monday night is when game 1 of that series with the Knicks and the Pacers will be. We'll show you the highlight of how Indiana took out Milwaukee last night. But Stephen A., on the subject of Jalen Brunson, I've tried repeatedly to make the point this morning because everyone in this city where we work in New York is talking about one of the great performances in Knicks history. This goes way beyond that. Jalen Brunson just had one of the greatest post-game series that any player ever has. There are a million different ways that we contextualize that, but he's done things. Michael Jordan and Oscar Robertson, Stephen A., are the comparisons.
I would just ask you to pump the brakes. I mean, don't sit up there and knock and malign New York Knicks fans to holding on to this. We can't get general. We can't have the whole big scope perspective. Hell with all of that. It's so rare that we see a New York Knicks do this kind of stuff. We got to salivate over that. We got to hold on to that, okay? It's ours right now. It's ours right now. This is what we've been waiting for. You put the ball in this brother's hands, he makes good things happen, if not great things happen, okay? Kelly Oubre, give him a lot of credit. He was assigned to Jalen Brunson, and he was doing a relatively decent job, but a lot of times he was getting drawn into a situation where and ones because Jalen Brunson is so gifted with the basketball. He's such a cerebral player. You got to give credit where credit is due in that regard, no question about that. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. This is the kind of discussion that I think we got to have at this particular moment in time about Jalen Brunson. Somebody said up there, Mad Dog was getting on me the other day, Mad Dog Russo, when I said top 5 New York Knicks. And Mad Dog was like, what, are you crazy? I said post-championship, meaning post-1973. Over the last 50 years, he is, without question, a top 5 Knick. Over the last 50 years. Now, if you want to sit up there and Walt Clyde Frazier, Earl of Pearl Monroe, Bradley DeBusch and those boys, that's a Willis Reed, that's a different category. Damn it, that was championships. That's championships. We sitting up here excited because we in the second round. Okay, it's different. But the flip side to that is that since 1973, Jalen Brunson one of the top 5 Knicks in history.
I mean, Bernard King, Patrick Ewing, Carmelo Anthony, right?
Carmelo Anthony.
Those are the only ones that you would even put in the discussion with him. Stephen A., as far as Brunson is concerned, we've been having this conversation this morning. Brian Windhorst said, in order to come up with a more significant free agent signing in relatively recent NBA memory, you got to go to guys like Shaq going to L.A. and LeBron making his decisions to go to South Beach.
And KD to go to State.
That significant, the signing that they made.
Absolutely.
One that no one really liked at the time they did it.
Well, listen, first of all, it's KD going to Golden State. It's LeBron taking his talents to South Beach, okay? It's Shaq in the 90s going from Orlando. Jerry West pulled off a theft in the middle of the night and got him to Los Angeles. Okay, it's on that level, make no mistake about it. But here's the biggest reason why. Because even though with LeBron, you were talking championships, KD, you were talking championships, Shaquille O'Neal going to Los Angeles, it ultimately became about championships, even though that wasn't the way it was initially when he had first arrived. Remember, they got swept by Utah when Kobe Bryant shot those air balls, God rest his soul, and then we ultimately see greatness from Kobe Bryant later on. In this particular instance, again, you got out of the first round. You got out of the first round, and you're in the second round of the playoffs. That's what you're doing if you're Jalen Brunson. The difference is that $104 million deal. Because right now, Jalen Brunson is playing like a $250 million player in today's NBA economy. It's not just that you got him. It's that you got him at that price, and you're also looking at the Dallas Mavericks, who did have Luka Doncic, but you're still saying to yourself, how did you not pay this kid $53 million? How did you not do that? Oh, by the way, when you refused to pay him, the brother still sat up there and assisted you in getting to the Western Conference Finals, which is the furthest that Luka Doncic had ever gone in his career. We know how spectacular Kyrie Irving is and what he's doing alongside Luka Doncic in a Dallas Mavericks uniform, but they ain't in the conference finals yet. They were in the conference finals when Jalen Brunson was there with Luka Doncic. How do you not pay him somewhere along the lines of $53 to $55 million? How did the Knicks sit up there and get away with giving him $104 million? Because we didn't see this, and that's what makes it so significant. He's basically bargain basement price.
What are the right things to say about Joel Embiid this morning?
He's a warrior. He went out there on one leg and did the kind of things that very, very few humans can do. He's a spectacular talent. Make no mistake about that. But he cannot be the face of the franchise that you build around in the future. Be very clear about what I'm saying. I'm not saying get rid of Joel Embiid. I'm saying if you're a Philadelphia 76ers organization, you can't depend on his durability. He has proven to you that he is not durable enough to be relied upon on a consistent basis. So the person to build around is Maxey. He's the guy that you have to build around. And by that I mean prioritize it along those lines. Joel Embiid has the skill set to adapt with whatever you do to help Maxey. But you have to prioritize Maxey, getting him signed, giving him a max deal, and building a culture and a roster around his skill set, because he's the one in all likelihood that's going to be on the court for you when it really, really counts, more so than Joel Embiid. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and they go into an offseason with all this money to spend.
That's why I thought Paul George should be their target, because personality-wise, he will let Tyrese Maxey be that. Whereas I love the name Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler is such an alpha that Tyrese will then fall underneath Jimmy Butler, and I don't want Tyrese to do that anymore.
These are a couple of the names, Stephen A. I know you're just getting up out there on the West Coast. Brian Windhorst's been talking about this morning, people that the Sixers might be able to acquire during what should be a fascinating offseason. But let's leave it in the right place for Stephen A., because he's got to get ready for his show. I got Knicks fans all over the place telling me, all right, now they're a big favorite against Indiana. Kristaps Porzingis is hurt. He's got the same injury as Giannis, and Giannis never came back, that the Knicks are going to the NBA Finals. Do you believe it?
No. We must crawl before we walk. Let's not get beside ourselves. Let's not be a typical Dallas Cowboy fan. You know, we're going to win the Super Bowl next year, right? No. We don't want to do that. We don't want to be like that, okay? What we want to do is take one step at a time. The Indiana Pacers are no joke. Remember, they're coached by a champion in Rick Carlisle. The man knows what he's doing. Remember, their defense might have been porous at certain intervals throughout this season. They've gotten a little bit better. They've got a champion in Pascal Siakam now. He knows a thing or two about performing on the big stage. We got to remember, they got scorers. They got shooters. They got size at multiple positions. And I can't say enough about Miles Turner. We can't ignore the threat that he can be, because he can pull you away from the basket just like Embiid could. He can pull you away from the basket and drain some threes his damn self. The brother can play. Halliburton can play. Naismith can play. You got a whole bunch of these brothers that can score the ball. The Knicks will be favored. Their toughness, their grit, whatever. But I'm not dismissing Indiana. We have to be alert. We will be alert. And we will win this series too. But it will not be easy.
That's where I know you are talking as a fan, S.A., because I never thought I would hear the day that Stephen A. Smith would say the cliche, we got to take it one game at a time. One game at a time.
We're getting to one at a time.
Will this bring you back to New York, Stephen A.? Will this series bring you back to New York next week?
It will be. I will be back in New York. It won't be at the beginning of next week. It'll be at the middle of next week. But I shall return. Make no mistake about it. New York City, baby. Here
Monday.
I come. Oh, yeah.